As the clock strikes 7, the fight's alive. Inner circles here where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come one, come all, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a Circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Today is Tuesday, December 16th, and tonight we have two special guests from the Broken Center Fire Department. We have the Fire Chief Todd Berg, and then the Deputy Fire Chief Brandon Gautsch. So tonight our topic is fire safety essentials, protecting our homes, family, and community. And it is the Inner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Abe Kumara. You can follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Tonight's going to be a very, very special conversation, so you can put a comment in the chat if you have a question for the fire chiefs. You can also call our number 952-594-5154. So we'll get right into it. I'll give the two of you the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about your city and what you do.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. I'm Todd Berg. I'm the fire chief. I've been with the Brooklyn Center Fire Department for 36 years now. And I'd like to introduce our Deputy Fire Marshal, Brandon Gautsch, who will be leading us through most of our fire safety topics and stuff tonight. One of the things I'd really like is to open it up for questions after each one of the segments. So feel free to, like Abe said, chat or call in for any of your questions. Go ahead, Brandon.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Again, my name is Brandon Gautsch. I'm the Deputy Fire Marshal. I've been with the department for 26 years now. So started as a paid on call, part-time, promoted up through lieutenant and into fire inspector role, and now the Deputy Fire Marshal. I do a lot of the education through the city, myself and the inspectors. So what we want to do today is hit on some key topics of fire safety that you and your family can use to stay safe, not just through the holidays, but year round is what we want as far as the fire safety goes. First and foremost, the number to call in case of emergency. It's a big thing. 911. Even when the kids are little, I start teaching them at a young age. 911 is the emergency number to call, all through adults. So if you need help from a police officer, if you need help from a firefighter, if you need medical services and you need an ambulance, we need to call 911. That's how you're going to get those emergency services started to your location. So with 911, you call that, a dispatcher comes on the phone. Once the dispatcher comes on the phone, they're going to ask, what's your emergency? Then they'll be able to start the appropriate police, fire, or an ambulance. They may start all three. But a couple things that you can do to help them is know the address that you're calling from, so we can get a good address. You're going to stay on the line with them if you can, because they're going to continue to ask questions, and they're going to monitor the situation while with you on the phone, and they'll give police, fire, and EMS updates, while we're en route to get to your location, and then let them know what's going on. If it's a medical emergency, where you're seeing, what's happening with that patient. If you see smoke and fire, do you see smoke and fire coming from a basement or from a chimney, from a front door? Or if you see something that's just kind of dangerous, not looking right, you need a police officer, keep them updated as far as what's going on with that 911 call. So you call the 911, the dispatcher is going to get that information, and they're going to start police, fire, and EMS to your location. So that's going to be the first thing, is 911, how to get us started, how to get us to you. Questions on 911?
I mean, it's like when people think about 911, right? Sometimes like, okay, I'm not calling the cops and things like that, but then you making it as like, even I'm in a situation of emergency like fire, right? You said 911 is the first thing. So it's like, at that point, when someone make a 911 call, is it when a dispatcher comes on the line? What are some of the questions? I guess they should be like if I'm calling, I should be anticipating, I guess.
Yep. So when I'm sorry, did you want to go, Chief?
No, go ahead.
So when the dispatcher gets on the phone, they're going to ask what your emergency is, and pretty much it's not necessarily just emergencies to call 911 for. It's if you need police or fire or ambulance medics for any type of situation, that's the number you need to call through the dispatcher to get us started to you. So even if you think it's maybe not an emergency, it's your emergency and you should call. It's easier to get us started and for us to be slowed down someplace in there, opposed to not calling and we never show up and we can't help you. So it's better to call and get us coming to you.
So it's like, does the 911 call route to a specific jurisdiction, right? Because that's someone new to the U.S., right? As immigrant new to the United States. If I'm calling now 911, does it go straight to my jurisdiction, or how does that work?
Yeah, so when you dial 911, probably one of the first things after they ask you what your emergency is where are you?
Okay.
And they're going to redirect you to whatever agency is dispatching for your area.
Got it.
So in Hennepin County, outside of a few cities that have their own 911 dispatch center, you're going to go to Hennepin County Dispatch, which they are the ones that dispatch for Brooklyn Center Police, Brooklyn Center Fire, and they have a direct route to North Memorial Ambulance as well.
Okay.
And they probably one of the big things is Brandon touched on this, to keep talking to them and stuff like that. They will get us coming your direction behind the scenes. You won't know that we're coming, but they will get the correct people responding to your emergency for help.
Okay. Got it. Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay. Yeah. If there's no further questions on 911, we'll move on to smoke alarms. Okay. So smoke alarms. So we have these. So these should be in everybody's home. They sit on your wall or they sit on your ceilings, and all they do 24 hours a day is smell for smoke. They have one job. That's all they're going to do is smell for smoke. When they smell for smoke, they make that loud beep, beep, beep sound. If nobody on here has heard it, this is what it's going to sound like if it smells smoke. So bear with me for a second. So it's going to do that 3 beep, beep, beep. Then it'll be silent. Then it'll go beep, beep, beep again. That means it smells smoke. It's time to get out of the house. Unless you know it's something that you did, like cooking, then you don't need to necessarily get out of the house. So with the smoke detectors, they should be in every bedroom, and they should be in any hallways between bedrooms, and one on each floor. That's ideally where they're all placed. They generally come with batteries, or they're battery operated. Some are hardwired. And those batteries should be replaced a minimum of once a year. Ideally, they'll be replaced twice a year. So what we kind of look at is daylight savings when it comes to changing your clocks. If you change your clocks, change your batteries. That's if we can kind of remember it that way. We always want to keep a fresh set of batteries in the smoke detector, Because if it's not working, it's not going to alert you. And if it doesn't alert you, then you have a house full of smoke or a possible fire or dangerous situation, and you're not alerted to it. With today's furnitures and the way things are built these days, if we go back several years, you had minutes, 5, 7, 10 minutes to get out of a house.
Sure.
Once the smoke detector activated. The materials that were made, they were thick, heavy cottons, they were thick, heavy wood, and it took a while for them to burn. These days, things are made, they're petroleum based, they're lightweight, there's glues, and they burn really fast. So instead of having several minutes of time to escape, you're looking at potentially 2 to 3 minutes before the house or the home is not habitable. So we want to make sure these are working. We want to make sure that they're in good working order. The batteries are good. So when they do get up, if they do set off, we're able to get out of that house in a timely manner. So we've got about 2 or 3 minutes of safe time to be able to get out. So these fires burn faster, quicker than they did in years past. So we want to make sure that these are kept up to date. They are only good for 10 years. They have a 10-year life on them. So if you hear these chirp, generally it's going to happen at a most inconvenient time, probably like 2 in the morning. It's going to go chirp. One of two things is going on. Either the battery's dead,
okay,
or it's an end of life. It'll tell you it's end of life. It'll give a little chirp chirp. If it's just doing those chirps, one of those two things is going on. It's either 10 years old, it's reached its end of life, and you need a new one, or you need to replace the batteries. If we keep changing the batteries twice a year or once a year, we generally don't run into that issue too often.
okay.
But it happens where we need to change those batteries, and it'll detect when the batteries are low, and it'll let you know. So,
okay. A couple more things that I'll add to that is you can buy smoke detectors anywhere, Menards, Home Depot, any hardware store. They're not super expensive. You can, they all work the same, relatively the same. And really, like Brandon said, the biggest thing is to keep those batteries switched out and fresh and good, because you think about it, smoke detectors don't ever sleep. They're going to be your alarm clock in the middle of the night when something's happening and they smell smoke to get you out of bed, grab your loved ones, and get them outside in that 2 to 3 to 4 minute span. If those batteries go dead, your smoke detector went to sleep, and it's not going to work.
Okay. Just a couple of questions regarding that, right? For the smoke detector, then, if I'm buying it at Home Depot or Menards, do I need a professional to install them?
No. So they're pretty simple to install. They're just a couple screws. So this would be specific to Brooklyn Center residents that I can speak to. So if you're a Brooklyn Center resident, if you go onto our website, get a hold of me, email me. We the fire department we'll send firefighters out to help you install them if you need help installing them. Okay. Or even if you want somebody to come out and take a look at your smoke detectors to kind of assess them, look at them, see if they're good, see what's going on with them. Again, that's specific to Brooklyn Center. We could come out and assist with that. But generally, it's a couple screws, and you're able to put them in. You'll want to put them, in the bedroom or on the ceiling. The placement is going to be about 6 inches down from the ceiling. Otherwise, it's going to be about 6 inches in off of the up from the wall. So you want them up in the up towards the ceiling areas. So that's where the smoke's going to come and start. It's going to go up, and they'll hit that detector first up there.
And then, how many smoke alarms are enough in a home? How many do you need? Are there specific numbers?
So the minimum that fire code will say one in each sleeping area. So that includes bedrooms, but it also includes, they say sleeping areas, because some people they run out of bedrooms, so they turn a living room into a sleeping area.
Okay.
So if you throw a mattress in a living room, you need to put a smoke alarm in there. but they want one in each sleeping area. They want a smoke detector if there's bedrooms and there's a hallway connecting them. They want a smoke detector in that hallway between the bedrooms, and then one upstairs and one downstairs. If you have one in the upstairs area, you want to keep it about 10 feet out of the kitchen area to try and prevent any false trips.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you want to try and keep it probably 10 feet away, if possible, from your bathroom. So another thing that'll happen is you open up that door after a shower and steam will come out and it'll trip it. So you want to, so ideally, sometimes it's not able to work that way, but if we can get them in that hallway, 10 feet from those kind of higher hazard areas, the shower area and the kitchen. But yeah, so each bedroom is where where the fire code wants them to be.
Yeah, I mean, in most African immigrants' families home, right, when they are cooking, sometimes the alarm, the alarm. When we first came, my family and I first came here in the '90s, every time we're cooking, right, the alarm will go off, right, and you wonder, okay, is it a fire or is it just, I mean, what it is, right? Yeah, you wondering, and sometimes like, okay, just the smoke is all over the house, right, and the alarm will go off. In that instance, I mean, how serious should you take it though, right? Because that's something a lot of African immigrant families experience.
So if you're cooking,
Mm.
you know that, okay, I burned some food or I know I smoked this up a little bit.
Yeah.
On the smoke detectors, on some of them, it's a hush button that you can push and it'll shut it down. It'll reset after that smoke kind of dissipates, kind of goes away. If you know that you did it, you don't need to go into that emergency mode and evacuate and get everybody out. You did it. I know what it is. I know that I got out of the shower. I know that I burnt up some food. I'm gonna just hit that hush button on the smoke detector and go about my business then.
Yeah, if you know you did it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's controlled, now if you had a pot of grease on the stovetop and it smoked a little bit and now it's on fire and that smoke detector is going off, you're going to want to call the fire department. But if it's just something that smoked up a little bit and you have it controlled, you shut everything off, it's not burning anymore, maybe you put the pot out on the front steps out of the house to get the smoke and stuff out of there, you don't need to call 911 for that, because it's controlled. There's nothing more we're going to do for you to help you.
Okay.
If things are beyond your control, that's when you want to dial 911 and get some of us out there to help you.
Okay.
Open a window, kind of air that out a little bit.
Yeah. If in the middle of the night, in the dead of the night, like a smoke alarm go off, what should be the first? Is it your first instinct? You should call 911 or you should get out of the home? I mean, what should you do first? Yes.
First thing is get out of the house.
Okay.
Again, so we only have those couple minutes to get out. So most importantly, we want to get out. If you need to grab loved ones, get out of the house. And once we get outside, and we'll talk about what to do outside here in a little bit, then call 911 from outside. Okay. So, but the most important thing is we want to preserve life and safety of people. So we want to get lives out of that dangerous situation or potentially dangerous situation.
What is the most common fire safety issues where you see in homes when you go to these homes, especially in Brooklyn Center?
So as far as when we go do inspections, if it's at home, we see I would say it'll be electrical.
Okay.
So we'll find a lot of extension cords being used. We'll see multi-plugs being used improperly. And that'll probably be one of the bigger things that we see. So if we take a couple steps back here, when it comes to actual fires,
Yeah.
so the number one fire we're going to go to is a kitchen fire, and we'll talk about kitchen fires here in a little bit. But that's going to be the number one cause of fires that we go to. The number one fatal fire is careless smoking. So for anyone that smokes inside,
Mm-hmm.
that's the number one fatal fire cause is careless smoking. But otherwise, it's going to be probably electrical that we'll see extension cords ran. Yeah, that'll probably be one of the bigger things that we see.
Okay.
Chief, add anything? So, the other thing that we will find, again, we just talked about it, will be the either expired smoke detectors or else no batteries in the smoke detectors. So that'll be another big thing that we'll see when we go to the houses.
Like I know Broken Center have a lot of apartments, right? For folks living in apartments, who's responsible for the maintenance of the smoke alarm?
Generally, it's going to be the apartment maintenance.
Okay.
So generally, and every apartment can be a little bit more specific, but generally, if your smoke alarm starts chirping,
Mm-hmm.
you call the front desk, you call the maintenance number, whatever number you're supposed to call for your apartment.
Yeah.
Let them know my smoke alarm's chirping. They should be out in under 24 hours to switch out that battery for you.
Okay.
So and take a look at it. So.
The big thing for apartment users or apartment people that live in apartments is you have to make the call to maintenance, because very likely they don't even know that the battery's low unless you call them. So it's important that you let them know. They don't know about that kind of stuff unless you tell them.
Like if a rental smoke alarm is missing in an apartment, I mean, it's like, what steps should they take? I mean, should they reach out to the landlord or something, or reach out to the fire department?
No, the landlord. Same way. Yep. You have to let them know that stuff is missing or damaged or broken or low battery, not working the way it's supposed to work. And then they're supposed to come and fix it and make it right.
Okay. Go ahead, Brennan.
All right. So that's why after smoke alarms, if there are any questions, we'll move on to CO, carbon monoxide alarms. Good.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So now we've got the CO alarm. So these sometimes look kind of similar to what the smoke alarms look like. So with carbon monoxide, it's colorless, it's odorless. So you can't see it, you can't smell it, you don't know what's in your house.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's super important to have these detectors in there, because they'll pick up that gas, and then they'll sound, they'll alert, let you know that there's a problem in there as far as CO goes. The placement of these is within 10 feet of all sleeping areas is where they want CO alarms placed. Kind of a reasoning behind that is, if there's CO in your house, again, you're not going to know it if you don't have the CO alarm, but you might start feeling drowsy, you might feel kind of headachy, sick, nauseous a little bit. And generally people, if they start feeling nauseous or sleepy, they tend to go to their bed. They tend to go take a nap. So they want those placed close to those areas, so if there is an issue, that people are being alerted to it. If it goes off, that's one of those things that you do want to get out of the house. Again, you want to get out of the house for that, because it can, with CO, you're going to go to sleep and you're not going to wake up. That's going to generally be what happens if there's too much CO in your home. So again, 10 feet of sleeping areas. It's colorless, it's odorless. You don't know what's there if we don't have these detectors in there. And it's, as far as where CO goes, it's about the same weight as air. Okay. So it floats wherever air goes. So some gases are heavy and they'll sink down to the ground, and some gases are light and they'll float. CO is about the same weight, if that makes sense at all. It's about the same weight as air around us. So wherever air is, CO just kind of floats in there also. So it's wherever air is, CO can be. So it's not going to be down low, it's not going to be up high necessarily. It's going to be wherever that air is, which is all over. So again, it's super important to have these. The CO alarms, they will last 7-8 years. They don't have the same life, the 10-year life that a smoke detector does. Mm-hmm. Same thing with these. We need to change the batteries. If we're not changing batteries, the batteries are dead on these, they're not going to do us any good. So when we're changing smoke alarm batteries, we want to change CO alarm batteries also. and we want to change them twice a year, ideally, minimum once a year. They do have some combinations where it's a smoke alarm and CO alarm. They're a little bit more expensive. I like them because you get both of those detectors, and you have that double coverage. You have the CO coverage and you have the smoking coverage all in one device. So I do like them. They're a little bit more expensive, not horribly expensive, but I do like them. But it's super important to have these within 10 feet of sleeping areas, one upstairs and one downstairs for sure.
I'd like to add a comment to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
CO is carbon monoxide.
Okay.
So carbon monoxide, you can't smell it, you can't taste it. It's like the invisible gas.
Mm-hmm.
How you get carbon monoxide in your house is from gas burning appliances like your furnace, your water heater.
Yeah.
If you have a gas stove or oven. Another big one this time of the year in Minnesota, we remember how cold it was a few days ago.
Yeah.
If you're warming up your car inside of an attached garage, you will get carbon monoxide into your house. So it is a good idea to back that car out into the driveway if you're going to warm it up. Don't warm it up in the garage right next to the house.
Oh wow, that's really that's a critical information right there, though, because most of us don't even know that, right? In the morning, the first thing we warm our car right in the garage because it's cold, so we don't get it out of the garage. But why is it so important that you warm it outside of the garage and not in the garage?
So if it's in the garage, I'm talking attached garage, a garage that's attached to your house.
Yeah.
That carbon monoxide is leaking right through the door, right into your house, right through any holes in the sheetrock or anything that you have in your garage, and it's going into your house. You say exhaust from a car, generally you see it come up, come out the back of the car and come up. If you're in a tuck under garage and you have bedrooms up above your garage, and you're warming up your car, most of that carbon monoxide is going right up into those bedrooms.
Oh wow, that's great. That's an important information, right? So can you, like, instead of getting the car outside, can you just open the garage, or you have to absolutely drive the car outside to get it started?
Well, you can open the garage and sure, some of it's going to escape, but if you want to play it safe, 100% safe, get that car out of the garage. Because if the wind's blowing up the driveway and blowing into the garage, that's where all that carbon monoxide's going, is back into the garage, even if the door's open.
Wow. That's an important information right there. Right? I don't think a lot of folks know that. I don't think a lot of folks realize that, because like in Minnesota, as you said, right, it's cold, and sometimes when folks come outside, the first thing they start their car right in the garage. That is a critical information right there. To be honest with you, because I didn't know that you have to, during the winter months, you have to actually, or even any time of the year, right? You actually have to do that, right? It doesn't have to be only the winters, right?
Right. It could be the summer, but most of us aren't warming our cars up if it's nice outside.
During the winter months, right? Are there like seasonal risks, like during the winter months in Minnesota? Is it like when it comes to smoke alarms and fire and CO alarms? Are there like more risks? During the winter months to these when it comes to smoke and CO?
Yeah, I would say yes, because you have people usually have their windows shut. The house is sealed up a little better in the winter than it is in the summer, as well as your furnace is running a lot more in the winter than in the summertime. Maybe you're inside more during the winter than you are the summertime. In the summertime, you may have a little barbecue in the backyard instead of cooking a ton with your gas stove in the evening time. You know what I mean? So we generally do see a little uptick in that stuff more in the winter than we do in the summer, because people are inside and things are closed and tightened up on your house, trying to keep the warm air inside.
Yeah. How many CO alarms do you normally need in a home?
It's going to depend on the size of the home. A minimum, if you have if it's a single family or single floor, single level, one outside, one out within 10 feet of the bedrooms. If you have 2 floors, you're going to want a minimum of 2, but you still want to keep, depending on how many bedrooms you have too. So you always want to kind of look at I want to keep them by the bedrooms, but we want to have one on each floor also. Mm-hmm. So if you have a 3-story home, you're going to want a minimum of 3, one on each floor. But you want to make sure you keep them by those bedrooms and also.
Like, do you like, for a family who's concerned about CO, like, do you need like regular inspection to see the level of CO you have in your home, or how do you detect that? How do you even know there's a CO in your home, I guess?
So the only way you're going to know if you have CO in your home is if you have these detectors. Okay. You can have like a center point or something come out, or somebody come out and do like furnace checkups or tune-ups.
Okay.
So, and that's never a bad idea to have done. So some of these appliances, like the furnace that do off-gas the CO, the carbon monoxide, have center point come out and do a tune-up on them, and they can check things, make sure they're running properly and venting properly also.
So if there's a high level of CO in your home, right, the alarm will go up. Is that what it is?
So the CO alarm will actually go off when there's a low level alarm. So
okay.
So by the time when this goes off, you shouldn't be in too much danger at the point of this going off if you get out right away. Okay. But it builds. That CO builds inside your house, and that's why we want you to get out. Call us. We'll come in. We've got gas monitors, and we'll get an actual reading of where the parts per million we look at it as. But how much of that gas is, how much of that carbon monoxide we're finding in your home?
Yeah.
We will then have CenterPoint come out, and CenterPoint can start doing repairs on the appliance that's off-gassing the carbon monoxide. They may, say you need to, remove it or replace it. They may be able to repair it, but they'll be able to give you a better idea of what's going on. They're more the professionals. We'll look at it. We'll kind of make the immediate time safe for you, for CenterPoint to come out and lock into what's going on, what's causing that carbon monoxide in your house.
Okay. For do you only need like CO alarms if you have gas appliances, or it doesn't matter?
So if you have a furnace in your house, or you have the gas appliances, dryers, anything that you're gonna have these appliances in your home. So I'm gonna go ahead and say you're gonna need CO alarms, in your house. So same thing with the smoke alarms. Get the smoke alarms, get the CO alarms. Keep your family safe.
Okay. No further question from here. Right? I think I go to the next segment.
All right. So we went over the smoke alarms. We went over the CO alarms. So what do we do if the smoke alarms get out or go off? So we want to be able to get out of our house. And so what we want to do is we want to know multiple ways out of our house in case of emergency. Okay. So what we recommend is knowing 2 ways out. And what's your immediate reaction to, how do I get out of my house? I'm going to go out my front door. We want to know a backup plan. We want what can we do to get out of the house if our main exit is blocked? Say that it's smoky or there's fire in that area. I can't make it out my front door. What am I going to do now? So we want to go through and we want to kind of pre-plan through our house. How are we going to get out? So it could be a back door. It could be through the garage. It could be through a window. So with windows, if it's a ground level window and I can get out the window, and it's right onto the ground level, I'm good with that. Go ahead and use those windows. I don't necessarily recommend jumping out of windows that are 2nd, 3rd, or higher floors.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I want to do, and I teach this to little kids, is, can I see you at a window? If there's an emergency in your house, can I see you in a window? The answer is yes. What happens when fire gets there? We walk all the way around your house and we start looking in all your windows. So if for some reason you're not outside and you weren't able to make it outside, you go to that window. We start looking at those windows. You wave your hands at us, help, 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 yell at us. We're gonna either come get you from the inside, or else we're gonna put a ladder up to that window, and bring you out. but we need to be able to see you. So if you're unable to get out of a main ground level floor or exit, window or door, I want you to go to windows. One of the things I also want you to do as far as exiting in case of emergency, well, more so if you can't, get into a room and close the door behind you. That creates a safe area, a smoke barrier. That door creates a smoke barrier, and gives you more time. You know, it'll keep that smoke out, and go to that window for us. Again, we walk around your home, and we're gonna look in those windows. If we see you there, we're gonna come get you. So yeah, so that's gonna be knowing two ways out. If one way is blocked, how do I get out a second way? It seems pretty simple, but in an emergency situation where kind of the adrenaline starts kicking in, and now I've got smoke in my house, it's not as simple then. So we want to do fire drills also. So with your family, a couple times a year, we want to practice. How do I get out of the house? The smoke detector goes off. How do I get out? All right, this worked. I got out this way. Now let's practice it again. We can't get out this way. What's our second way out? And we want to make sure we have those all in place, because in that fire situation, it's your adrenaline's going to be kicking in.
Yeah.
It's going to be it could be a scary situation. It's an emergency situation, so we want to know two ways out, and we want to be comfortable and confident in getting out both of those ways. So always have a backup plan to be able to get outside.
A couple comments I'll add to that.
Yeah.
You know, earlier we talked about calling 911 and staying on the phone with them. If for some reason you can't get out, you know, all the ways are blocked to get out of your wherever you are inside your home or apartment.
Yeah.
And you're standing by the window, I want you to call 911 too.
Okay.
And tell them, hey, I'm in the second floor bedroom right above the driveway, and I'm trapped in here, because that's the first thing we're going to do, because you can't replace lives. We can replace a garage, but we want to get the people out first.
Okay.
The other thing I'll point out is when you go to bed at night, sleep with your door closed. It's going to give you more time to react to a fire and smoke, because that door is going to keep you safer while you're sleeping at night.
So your bedroom door, that's what you're talking about, right? Close your bedroom door. Okay.
Close your bedroom door when you're inside sleeping. You have a detector out in the hallway, and you have a detector in your bedroom.
Okay.
You're going to hear that detector in the hallway if the fire's outside of your bedroom.
Yeah.
You're going to hear it, and it's going to give you a little bit of time. Like Brandon talked about, when a fire is happening, especially if you're sleeping, like getting woken up from a sound sleep, you're not thinking right. You know, that easy way out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we're all talking about it, you might not think that way at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're sleeping. Okay. So it just gives you a little extra time.
Okay. I mean, Brennan, you talk about like, you know, having like families having fire safety drills. Is that something like, do they have to engage your fire department? Is that something families can do on their own, like annually or something?
They can just do it on their own. One of the things that you can do is you can, you know, start by just kind of drawing a little map of your house, and go over the layout with all the family members on paper. This is what our house looks like. But walk through your house and see, you know, from your bedrooms and from the living room and from different places in your house, if that smoke alarm goes off, what's my closest way to get out of the house? If I'm downstairs and the smoke alarm goes off, what's my closest way to get out of the house? If I'm upstairs in my bedroom, what's my closest way, you know, down the stairs and out the main door? You know, and practice the different areas of your house to the different doors and windows, so you have a good, comfortable base. You know, so if that emergency happens, it's not the first time you're walking that path to get there.
Got it. And then if you're on the second floor, a lot of home these days is you know, first and second level. You know, if you're on the second level, you say you shouldn't attempt to jump through a window. You should what? You should wait for the fire department. Is that what it is?
Yeah, if you can get downstairs and get out your main doors, perfect. That's ideal.
Okay.
If you open up that door to your room and it's heavy smoke and you can't get out, that close that door back up, because that's going to be your barrier. It's going to create your safe area in that room.
Okay.
Go to your window, open up the window, like Chief said, call 911 and say, hey, I'm stuck in here.
Okay.
But one of the first things, again, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at your windows when we arrive. And if you're at your window and you're yelling at us, help, 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 we're going to come to that window. We're going to come get you then.
Okay.
So,
even if the fire is raging, right, you should just, stay close to the window. Don't attempt to jump through it or anything. I mean, because as the chief said earlier, right, in the heat of that moment, and you are panicking, you are afraid, and things like that. So you should just wait for for the fire department.
So generally, for Brooklyn Center, our response time is generally in that 4 to 6 minute range. Generally, at night sometimes it gets pushed out a little bit more because we respond from home, but we're on scene pretty quick, and our cops are usually there pretty quick also. So we do want you to stay. Jumping is
a last resort.
As a last, yeah. There's a lot of risks that go with jumping. That if you hang in there a couple more minutes for us, we're gonna be there. So last resort, yeah, exactly, Chief. Thanks.
Okay. How should family plans, like family with kids, with maybe older parents or disabilities, how should they plan, in a situation of fire, right? And things like that. How should they plan?
So again, this is where those fire drills come into play. So when it's little kids or whether it's older adults, we want to walk through the house. We want to walk through these drills with everybody in the family. If you have somebody that has mobility issues, when you call 911, let us know right away that we have a wheelchair-bound person, or we have a bedridden person. We have somebody that doesn't walk very well. Let us know that, so we know what we're coming into, and so we can better prepare beforehand before we get there, and know that we have to go in and we have to help this person because they do have mobility issues. The more information you give that 911 dispatcher, the better informed we are when we arrive there to respond properly. But as far as drills go, practice them with everyone, young to old.
Yeah. One of the things that I'll mention too is you guys are going to help each other out. If you have a little baby that can't walk, someone's going to have to grab that baby and get it out. Okay. But the one thing that I do want to stress is once somebody is outside of the house, don't go back in. Let us go back in.
Okay.
Let us go and rescue that other person, because we have the equipment where we can breathe in the hot air and breathe in the smoke and stuff like that, where if a family member, decided to go back in after somebody else or a pet or something like that, the odds are that family member is going to get themselves in trouble. And now we're rescuing more than one person.
Okay. Once the family escape the home, right? How far away should they stay when they're outside? How far away should they stay from the home?
Get out and go across the street would be my plan.
Okay.
Meet in the neighbor's yard across the street, and what we're, the biggest thing, like I've said this 3 times, I think already tonight, the biggest thing we want to know when we get there is if everybody is accounted for and out of the house.
Got it. For folks living in an apartment, right? Is it always once the alarm go off or something, should they always get outside? Because you have some folks, right, who will say, you know what, I think it's not serious, let me stay inside. Is it advisable to always get out for folks living in an apartment?
If you live in an apartment, I say get out. People become complacent. With fire alarms in apartments, and probably majority of the time it's burnt food, or it is something that is not an actual fire. But all it takes is that one time for it to be that actual fire. And then you get trapped inside. So if the fire alarms go off, I recommend and get out. it might be an inconvenience at 2 a.m, but I'd rather have you out than, oh, I didn't get out because this is fire alarm again at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Get out and be safe.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. Keep practicing count that as a practice one, and it'll be good for the real deal. The other thing, as a fire department, as officers on the fire department, the first thing we're going to do is, once we figure out that there's no danger to people, come on back in the building and go back into your apartment.
Okay. Next segment.
All right. So we're putting this all together. So we have the smoke alarm that goes off. We need to get outside. We know a couple ways out. So now what we want to do is we want to get outside. We want to go to a meeting place. And so this is all part of that fire drill. It's going to be the neighbor's front yard. Like Chief said, it could be across the street. It's going to be a place where everybody in your family drills and practices. This is where we're going. If we have to get out of the house because of an emergency, we are going to this spot. We're going to this tree. We're going to this neighbor's front door, and everybody's going to come and meet there. Again, one of the things that happen once fire arrives on scene, we send somebody looking around the house to see if anybody is at any of the windows and see what's going on. We also send somebody to that meeting place. And at that meeting place, you can tell us, everybody's out of the house. Okay, good. We're going to go handle the fire. Or you can say, mom's missing or dad's missing, or you can tell us a pet's missing at that point. That's where we're going to check in. That's where everybody's going to be accountable. Let us know that everybody is out, or if there's anybody that you don't know where they are, so we can go and look for them. We'll ask, where is their bedroom, or where was the last time you saw them, or where do they sit a lot? If a particular person's missing and they're not at that meeting place. But we want to get outside and we want to go to that meeting place, so everybody goes there. Everybody in the family knows to go there, so we know everybody's out and everybody's safe.
Okay.
So that's the next step.
Yeah, I know that it's chief stress, right? Once you get outside, stay outside. But sometimes, in stressful moments, maybe like someone forgot their pet, or maybe a loved one is inside. Is it absolutely don't attempt that? Just stay out?
That's actually my next point.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So tying this together. Smoke detector goes off. We get outside. We go to our meeting place. Once we get to that meeting place, we get out and we stay out. That's kind of the catchphrase for it. Get out, stay out. Okay. Toys, computers, all this stuff, clothes. We can get new stuff. We can't get a new person. We can't get a new daughter. We can't get a new mom. Okay. We need to keep you safe, and so we can't stress enough. Get out and stay out. Like Chief said earlier, let us go in. Tell us that when we come to your meeting place, I have a dog in there, or I have a pet in there, my kid's in there, or let us know if somebody is in there that needs to be brought out, but don't go back in there. And especially when it comes to kids, they want to go, my stuffed animals in there, my toys in there. Don't let them go back inside after that stuff. And then the adults, stay outside. Let us go back in there. Like Chief had said, we have the proper equipment. We have the gear. We can be in those environments where if you don't have that gear on, you're not going to survive that environment. To go back inside. So meeting place, get out, stay out.
Okay.
Super important.
You have to realize that stuff can be replaceable. Humans can't be replaceable. I'll throw in a little because I meet a lot of people, especially renters, that don't have insurance to replace that kind of stuff. Renters insurance is like 1 or 2 cups of coffee a month. It's really cheap, and that's what you need to replace that stuff. Okay. So if you don't have renters insurance, talk to your insurance agent, ask them about it. It is very cheap if you're a rental person. It's like I said, it's the cost of 2 or 3 coffees a month now. $20 a month maybe, to protect all your stuff. That's why we're concerned about the people. The stuff can be replaced.
Yep. Okay. Okay. When someone, when you guys arrive on the scene, right? What's the most helpful information should a homeowner provide? Like, what are the critical information? What's the most helpful one for you guys?
You want to take that
It-
one?
yeah, we want to know, is everybody accounted for?
Okay.
And once everybody's accounted for, we can go to work. We're good at what we do, and we can put the fire out and try and save as much of that. I call it stuff, but it's stuff. We're going to try and save as much as that as we can. But our number one goal is saving people.
Yeah.
Okay. After people, we'll try to preserve the property the best we can.
Again, for family with kids, right? What should families be telling their kids in these emergency situations, right? To keep them calm, because sometimes kids be panicking, in these stressful situations, right? What should family be doing in those situations?
So everything I've talked about so far today is a lot of the same material that I teach when I do little kids.
Okay.
The smoke alarms, the way to get out. One of the things that I touch on when it comes to little kids, because they get scared and they might panic, is
Yeah.
not to hide.
Oh.
And that's why I talked about it a little bit is, can I see you at a window?
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to little kids, can I see you under your bed? No. Can I see you in a closet? No. But the smoke can find you in a closet or under your bed. I want to find you. Chief
Got it.
wants to find you.
Got
So
it.
that's why I stress even to little kids, always go to a window. Don't hide from us, because we want to be able to be the ones that find you, not the smoke. So practicing these same steps with kids,
Mhm.
this is the same things that I'll talk to little kids to older adults about. And it is all the same as far as just life safety in general. In case of emergency, we all
Yeah.
want to follow these same steps. If it's a little kid and your mom, dad, or what, yep, you're probably going to go help that. You're going to grab your child. You're going to
Mhm.
grab your loved ones. If you have somebody that has mobility issues, yep, you're going to probably grab them and help them get out.
Yeah.
But it's all these same steps that we want everybody to follow from young to old to get out to make sure that they're safe.
Okay. Like for families living in apartments, right, or rental home, what are their responsibility versus the landlord when it comes to these fire safety issues?
So I can speak for Brooklyn Center.
Mhm.
We go into our apartments and do fire inspections in there on a yearly basis.
Okay.
We work pretty closely with, and it's not a perfect system, but we work pretty closely with a lot of the property managers in Brooklyn Center to try and keep the buildings as fire safe as we can. Again,
Okay.
it's not a perfect system. There's some things that we have to work with the property managers on to get it to where we want it to be, the building. But most property managers are pretty receptive. They work with us pretty well. If we see things that come up, they are so we have the fire code to fall back on, but we require them to make those adjustments to fix those issues that we find to make it a better, safer living environment for everybody, to make the building, fire safe.
Sure. Okay. Next segment.
Next segment is Chief touched on this a little bit, is sleeping with some nighttime safety, sleeping with your doors closed.
Okay.
A couple things before we get to that, even is at night when you're sleeping, keep in mind, what do I need if it's dark in here and it's smoky in here, there's an emergency. What do I need if I get woke up in the middle of the night and it's, oh, so by my bedside, do I have my hearing aids? Do I have a flashlight? Do I have my cell phone? Do I have my glasses? Some things that are, they might not seem like a kind of a big deal right now.
Yeah.
But when it comes time to exiting in an emergency, when you're kind of frazzled or woken up and you're trying to make everything make sense, those are all good things to have that are right by your bed to be able to grab. So, it doesn't do me any good to have my glasses in the bathroom, a flashlight downstairs in the living room. I'm going to charge my cell phone over here when they're all things that I know that I'm going to want to grab to get out, so I can help myself, so I can see it, so I can make that phone call.
Sure.
So keep in mind some of those basics that you have. Keep them by your bedside, and then going into sleeping with your door closed. sleeping with your door closed, that's going to create that safe area, that barrier. If anybody gets on YouTube at all,
Yeah.
So it would have been last or 23, 24. If you pull up Lindstrom Restoration, Brooklyn Center Fire Open House, what we did was we brought in a demonstration trailer, and it's called Close Before You Doze. And what this trailer did is it set up a room. It was like a bedroom, put a bedroom door in the middle of it, and on the outside of that, set up kind of like a living room area.
Yeah.
Set the one side on fire
Mm-hmm.
to show how much that one door keeps that bedroom area safe and for how long. So if anybody wants to kind of see, how effective that is to create that safe area for you, but just by closing that door, pull up that Lindstrom Restoration YouTube video, Brooklyn Center Fire Open House.
Okay.
It's a good demonstration. And you will see that that does create a safe area for you in that area just by keeping that one door closed. So if you can't get out your main doors, get into a room that you have a door that you can close, go to the window. At night, keep the door closed, because that's going to create that safe area right from the get-go.
I mean, that's important. I mean, keeping the door closed, right, is my first time hearing this, right? Sleep, because most of us sleep with, especially here in America, sleep with with your bedroom door open, right? So I think that's a very, very that's a very important safety information right there when it comes to fire, because I didn't know that. And a lot of immigrant families don't even know that. And a lot of families don't even know that.
Well, and when I'm doing, like, if it was an in-person class right now, I would ask, how many people sleep with their door open? How many people sleep with their door closed?
Yeah.
And a lot of people sleep with their door open because they don't know. They don't see that side. Like Chief and I see this because we respond to these houses. We respond to the fires, and we know how that smoke moves. We know how that fire moves. And by just creating that barrier, by closing that door, you're helping yourself so much.
Oh, that's good. That's good. When it comes to flashlight, right? I know every cell phone every smartphone has a flashlight, but do you actually need physical flashlights? Or
you don't? I think flashlights are good to have kind of around the house, just in case the power goes out. But if it's dark at night, you have to get out of your house. It doesn't hurt to have that extra little light. Yep. If you want to throw your flashlight on your cell phone, that works too. Again, it's just an extra little aid for you to help get out in case it's dark in that environment in your home.
Okay. Next segment.
So electrical safety. People use we'll start with space heaters. So those are a plug-in type thing. So in the plants. It popped into my head earlier in the conversation we were talking about it's been cold the last couple weeks or last couple days. Heating inside your house during the winter. If we're using space heaters, they can be used, but a couple things that we want to look at when we're using space heaters is we want to make sure and give them their space. We want 3 feet around that space heater. We don't want it next to a garbage can. We don't want it sitting next to the edge of the couch. We don't want it close to curtains, because there's airflow that's circulating through that space heater, and it'll suck those curtains in. So we want to make sure there's a 3-foot area around that space heater that's a safe area for that space heater. A couple other things we want to make sure and do is if we leave that room, we want to unplug it, and we want to unplug it from the wall so it's not drawing power still. So shut it off and unplug it if we leave the room. But also we want to look at that space heaters they have a UL listing.
Yeah.
So a UL listing basically says it's met certain standards and certain testing criteria, where maybe you go to a dollar store and you buy a power strip or you buy a space heater. You don't know where it came from, but you look at it and go, hey, this is on sale for $9.99. It's a space heater. This is what I'm looking for. You don't know what you're getting into. You don't know what you're buying. It hasn't been tested. So you don't know what kind of safety standards it's met. Where if you get one of that, and it'll have a UL little sticker on it on the box. You get one that says UL on it, it's met certain safety standards. And also we want to get one that has tip over protection. if you're looking at space heaters.
Mhm.
That way, if it gets knocked over for any reason, it automatically shuts off. So that was kind of a little sidestep with space heaters and heating. But then back to electrical safety, when we're looking at extension cords.
For space heaters, right? Let me just stop you
Yeah.
right there. For space heaters, I know a lot of folks sometimes, especially in the immigrant community, we like to heat our garages, right? We like to sit in our garages not during winter to entertain. Is it like, are these space heaters advisable in those kind of environments?
As long if it's dry in there, if the floor is wet, or if it's wet in there at all, I don't want a space heater sitting in a puddle of water. But if there's ever a time where you're not in that same area as that space heater, I don't advise using a space heater. I don't advise leaving a space heater left alone.
Okay.
So they generate a lot of power. They pull a lot of power, and they give off a lot of heat. So if you're not in that area with that space heater, I'd say shut it off, unplug it, and don't use it unless you are actually in that room with it.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
So then we've got our extension cords. So extension cords, we don't want to use them for permanent power.
Mhm.
So if they're supposed to be used on appliances or tools that you're going to use on a temporary basis. It could be, you're plugging in a lawnmower or a weed whip or a power tool or something like that. There's different things that they have their general uses for, but we don't want to leave it plugged in all the time, and we don't want to run extension cords underneath carpets and stuff. So if you think of extension cords, there are a lot of little wires wound together in this
Yeah.
little cord. And if you've ever taken a paper clip and done this with a paper clip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that paper clip eventually breaks. So what happens is with extension cords, if we're not checking them to make sure that they're not frayed or they're overused or have a little nicks in them, those wires inside that extension cord can break, and then they create little arcs. And so if it's broken for some reason, it starts arcing a little bit. We've got a carpet that's laying over there, a rug laying over the top of it. Now it overheats, and now we start that fire. So we want to keep our extension cords in good use. If it's going to be, I would recommend if you need more outlets, one, get an electrician to add an outlet. But otherwise, we have these power strips.
Mhm.
This, we can plug this right into the wall outlet. We get 5 more outlets to use, but it also has a surge protector on it. So if there's too much current being drawn to this surge protector will trip and shut the power off to anything that's going in here. So if something's overdrawing power, it'll shut it down. So I'd recommend this if you're going to be using things. I like these better than if we can use these instead of extension cords. They're better because they have that surge protector on it, that shut off. But we don't want to take an extension cord and plug it into that though. So that is called daisy chaining.
Okay.
So we don't want to tie extension cords together. We don't want to plug an extension cord into a power strip. We want things to have their designated outlet to plug into things. If that makes sense.
The one thing I'll say that I see a lot, after we investigate fires and stuff like that, is one of those strips and then having another strip plugged into that strip. And that's a little bit of what Brandon's talking about. Only one strip can be used in that outlet. You don't want to keep plugging strips in to get 10 or 15 things plugged into it because you're just it's going to overload it.
Yep.
Mhm.
At that point, if you're have an electrician come in and add outlets to the home.
Okay.
That's
Do extension cords? The extension cords is one of the. Do they pose like high fire risk?
What, say that again?
Do extension cords pose like a higher fire risk when they are misused?
They can, yes, and that's why that's why we want to use them on a temporary basis. We don't want to use them as a permanent power supply. So if it's something that's going to be plugged in for a long time, I recommend getting an outlet put in. If you can't make that
because
read.
most of us, I mean, most of us use it in our homes, right? It's like permanently, you know, you have different extension cords and you have different thing plugs into it. So you don't want to go ahead.
Here's a good way to put it. Your fridge draws a lot of power, a lot of electricity.
Yeah.
That fridge is plugged into an outlet, more than likely. Your
Mhm.
stove draws a lot of energy. It's plugged right into an outlet, right into the wall.
Okay.
A space heater should never be plugged into an extension cord. It should go right into the wall.
Wow.
The things that, you know, your dryer, your washing machine, those are plugged right into the wall because they draw a lot of electricity.
Okay.
The safest way is to have everything that you plug in plugged into the wall. Another good one, a hair dryer. You know, a lot of people use them every single morning.
Yeah.
What's right next to your sink? An outlet to plug in your hair dryer.
Sure.
You know, right in front of the mirror. There's a reason for that you don't plug big, you know, appliances that draw a lot of energy. You plug them right into the wall.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead. And with the electrical stuff, if you go through your house and you see, you know, things that don't necessarily need to be plugged in, unplug them from the wall. Even if you take your phone charger and it's plugged into the wall and the phone's not plugged into it, that charger is still drawing power from that wall outlet.
Oh.
So anything you can unplug from the wall. So like a toaster, you know, if you leave that toaster plugged in, it's still drawing power out of that outlet. Unplug it. Microwaves draw a lot of power also. If you can do without the clock on it, unplug it if you're not using it. Sometimes that's not going to be necessarily, you know, it's a microwave, I get it. But if you go look through your home and you see that you got a bunch of things that are plugged into outlets, unplug them from the outlet until it's time that you need to use them, and then plug them in and use it. It just makes it a little bit safer, and it cuts down that power draw then also.
Okay. Next segment.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is cooking safety. So everybody cooks, everybody likes to eat, right?
Yeah.
But a cooking safety, like we talked about earlier, is the number one fire we go to also. So some things that we want to make sure we have a cooking designated area. Okay, we want to keep kids out of there. We want to keep the pets out of there. This is my cooking area, and I want to keep it a safe area. We want to stay in attendance to our cooking. People are distracted these days. You get a phone call, someone knocks at the door, whatever it might be, and then they leave, and then the pot of grease boils over, or even it's a pizza in the oven, it starts burning up.
Yeah.
So we want to stay in that area of cooking. If you're using pots, we want to take those handles, turn them in so we don't accidentally knock them over. Look at our clothing. Do we have loose sleeves on? Or do we have tight sleeves on? If we have loose sleeves on, we want to make sure we get them pulled up and out of the way. We don't want to drag those across a burner or anything like that. What's in the area of our stove? Do we have a roll of paper towels that are next to this burner that we're using for cooking? We want to make sure to get those paper towels out of the way, or it could be a loaf of bread in the plastic baggie or whatever it might be. We want to keep that area free and clear. If you do have to leave that area, set a timer for 30 seconds or else shut off your stove. Another thing, know yourself and know your body. Are you drowsy? Did you just come from a night out and maybe you've had a couple drinks? You're hungry. This will happen. I'm out late. It's 2 a.m. I'm hungry. I'm going to throw a pizza in. I sit down on the couch. I fall asleep.
Yeah.
That pizza's still cooking, and it's going to continue to cook until that smoke alarm goes off because I just smoked up my house.
Sure.
Or even medications. If you take medications and you know that they make you drowsy, maybe hold off on cooking, or else, you know, if cook and then take your medication, you know, with your meal or whatever. But know if you're taking things that, you know, if you're drowsy, because it happens. You sit down, you fall asleep, something's on the stove or something's in the oven. Then we have our grease fires. So something fires up on the stove, we have that grease fire. What we want to try and do is, if we can, turn the burner off and we want to slide a cover over the top of it, or a pan. What we don't want to do is throw water on it. If we throw water on a grease fire, it turns into a huge fire. Chances are you're probably going to get burned. It's going to get into your walls.
Mm-hmm.
It turns into a bigger fire than what it started out as. We have these, so I know this is kind of hard to see here, but it's called a stovetop fire stop.
Okay.
So I do recommend these. So what this does is it's about the size of a can of tuna. It's not much bigger than that.
Yeah.
But there's a wick that sits under here, and it attaches underneath your stove. So if I'm cooking here and I have a grease fire, that flame comes up and it catches this wick on fire.
Mm-hmm.
It'll drop out a dry chemical and put that fire out.
Wow.
So I've seen these more than once in our apartments.
Okay.
Save an apartment fire, which could turn into multiple apartments that catch on fire.
Sure.
By having these, and it drops down and it knocks down that fire. You can get them at Home Depot's, Menards, Amazon. They're called stovetop fire stop. They're probably $50-$60 for two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But $50-$60 opposed to, losing your kitchen or losing your house or losing an apartment.
Yeah.
I think they're a good investment. That's my little plug on those.
Okay.
They work. They do. But again, what we don't want to do is we don't want to throw water on there. And we also don't want to go and try and pick that pan up and we'll go running across and throw it outside. By the time you pick that pan up, it's going to splash out. It's going to burn you. You're going to drop it. And now you just spread that grease all across your home. And now that fire, you just threw that fire across your house.
Okay.
So again, we can turn that burner off, slide that pan or that lid over the top of it. That's going to knock down that fire. Just slide it over to a different burner. If you're ever unsure, call 911. Have us come out. We'll come out. We'll make sure that fire is out.
Okay.
We can do that for you. So those are kind of some quick little cooking tips.
Yeah.
To stay safe with.
Yeah. What are the most common cooking mistakes that leads to fire? I mean, you guys are kind of.
It's going to be unattended.
Okay.
People get distracted. They walk away from their cooking, or they may go and they may sit down and they fall asleep, or they get on the computer, or they start YouTubing or TikToking or whatever they do on their phone. And they forget that they're cooking.
Yeah.
Until they get the smoke detector goes off, and they look over and they're like, "Uh-oh, I've got a fire on my stove now."
So it's always advisable then to stay within that proximity, right? To stay close to to stay close to the kitchen. Don't leave. Stay close and be attentive. Okay.
Yep. If you have to leave, okay, I'm gonna go run. I'm gonna change out my laundry. Turn the burner off. Go take care of your laundry. Come back. Turn the burner back on, and start your cooking again.
Okay.
So.
Gas stove versus fire stove. Gas versus electric. Which one, I guess, has the most fire danger?
I would say they're both equally as dangerous. It's the heat. It isn't the gas flame, or it isn't the electric part of the oven. It's the heat that is probably the most dangerous. So either or is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One more thing.
Yep. Next segment.
Okay. So we have these fire extinguishers.
Okay.
So it is recommended to have fire extinguishers at your house. I recommend that they are by exit doors. So when we're looking at fire extinguishers, when we're using them, we're looking at a fire that's it could be a small stovetop fire, a grease fire, or we don't want or a garbage can type fire. So we're not looking at anything more than a 2 to 3 foot fire. So when we're looking at fires these days, they're gonna double and triple in size in about 15 to 30 seconds or so. So you've got that garbage can fire that's on that you have is about 2 feet. About 30 seconds is probably about a 4 foot fire. So we want to make sure that we're comfortable with what we're doing here first. So before we use these, again, we have to be comfortable with what we're going to do, but it's for a smaller fire. So before we do this, we want to make sure our back is to our exit. So we don't get trapped between the fire and the door. And that's why I say a good place to put these is by a door, because then your back is to the door. What's in here is what I recommend getting is an ABC extinguisher. So an ABC extinguisher are good for 3 types of fires. An A fire is anything that can burn, anything that's combustible.
Mm-hmm.
B fire is anything that can boil. It's a liquid, so your gases. And a C fire is an electrical fire. So they come in an ABC extinguisher. So there's a dry chemical that's in here, and it smothers that fire. It's an all-purpose fire extinguisher is what it is. And those are kind of the 3 main categories of fires that we're going to find.
Sure.
ABC fire extinguisher will handle all those.
Okay.
Depending on the size of the extinguisher that you have, you're only going to have, so an extinguisher this size, you might have 20, 30 seconds before this is empty. So if you have a bigger one, you get a little bit more time. But this is pressurized, so once you release this all discharges, but it discharges probably in 20, 30 seconds. So you don't have a whole lot of time once you do this. To use the fire extinguisher, it's called PASS, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. So all extinguishers will have this little pin in it. You can see here. So what we want to do is we want to pull that out. What that pin does is it just keeps this from accidentally discharging.
Okay.
So it's a safety, basically.
Sure.
So we pull that pin out, and it makes it active for the fire extinguisher. We want to aim at the base of the fire. So there's your A part. And then we want to squeeze these handles. So once we squeeze the handle on these, that discharges that dry chemical.
Okay.
So then we want to sweep back and forth at the base of the fire until the fire goes out. We're probably going to start from about 6 feet away or so. And then as the fire gets knocked down, we can move forward towards the fire. If after one of these it doesn't work, get out and call 911. Even after you use a fire extinguisher, I still recommend call 911, say, hey, I had a fire, I used an extinguisher on it. We'll still come out, and we're still going to verify that the fire is indeed out. So one of these, or a fire extinguisher on each level of your house, garage. They're good to have. It's a dry, like I said, it's a powder in there. It's a dry chemical powder that's inside here. It discharges out, and it smothers the fire is what it does. It takes the oxygen away from the fire so it doesn't burn. And an ABC one is the one that I would suggest getting. And each one's going to have, you have to read the manufacturer's recommendations on there, but a lot of times there'll be about a 10-year life on a home extinguisher then also.
Okay.
So, but the manufacturer on the label will tell you this is good for 8 years, or this is good for 5, or this is good for 10. So you just have to look at the label to see what is good for them.
So for families living in apartments too, do you recommend that they have a fire extinguisher? Or?
Yep, and a lot of apartments will supply a fire extinguisher. So I've noticed that, and in Brooklyn Center, we're working at getting more of our apartments to install these also. Some of them already have them installed, but we are working at getting these installed into our multifamily, into our apartments here in Brooklyn Center. But generally, at a minimum, they'll have those extinguishers, at least one in the apartment, in the kitchen area.
If someone buys a fire extinguisher, do they need a professional to install them, or they can just keep it somewhere or anywhere they come? So
unless you're a business or a daycare, you can go buy one at Home Depot, Menards, wherever you want to. They'll come with little hangers that there's a couple screws into your wall, and you can just hang it right on your wall. Some people will just leave it right on the floor in a corner by a door someplace. But just put it where it's easily accessible, where it's not blocked, so you can get to it. But you don't have to have a professional do anything with it if it's for your household.
Yeah.
Go buy one, Target, Menards, Home Depot, and it's yours. So.
Okay. Any other segment?
So those are the topics I wanted to go over tonight with you. If there's other questions.
Yeah. Man, there has been some great information. Right? We have never had this much education information about fire and fire safety. I think it was some great information tonight. And like when it comes to like fire safety, is that something that you do annually in Brooklyn Center? Like, provide these safety tips to residents of Brooklyn Center?
Yep. So throughout the year, we'll go into the elementary schools. We'll talk to the little kids,
Mm-hmm.
and then throughout the year, I'll also go out to the senior housing. So we go and
Okay.
talk to our senior housing also, and we go over a lot of the same things we talked about today. It's the same information, but we want to get the message out to people. We want to remind people of the message,
Mhm.
and a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that, or I haven't thought about that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But the message is all the same as far as, we want the working smoke alarms. We want to be able to get out of the house. We want to stay out of the house. What can we do inside our homes to make them safer for us? And it's always a learning experience, whether you're young or old. So we in Brooklyn Center, we do that fire education throughout the year for young and old.
Yeah. Well, really want to thank you guys for taking the time to educate our audience today, to educate the community. Has been some great information. I learned a lot about fire and fire safety, all of the safety measures. So I will give you guys two of you the last word to close. What's the message you want to leave our audience tonight as we wrap up this segment?
I would say, we want to be as safe as we can. When it comes to fire safety, we can replace belongings, but we can't replace you.
Mhm.
Always kind of err on the side of safety,
Okay.
because we want to protect you. We get one of you and we want to keep you.
Okay.
I guess a comment I'll add is no matter whether you live in Brooklyn Center or any other one of our community cities around the Twin Cities here,
Mhm.
if you have a question to ask your local fire department, go on their website and there's ways to contact them besides calling 911 because it's probably not an emergency.
Yeah.
But if you have a question, my phone number's up on our website all the time. You can reach out to me and ask a question. I'd be more than happy to talk through it with any one of our community members.
Okay. I know, Chief, when we started this segment, you said you wanted to choose some plug-in for those who want to become a fire marshal or some things like that.
Yep. So the other thing that I'll tell you is Brooklyn Center is always looking for paid on call firefighters. So our paid on call firefighters have jobs somewhere else and just do this to help their community. Okay. You have to be 18 years old. You have to live within 8 minutes of one of our two fire stations in Brooklyn Center.
Okay.
And we give you all the equipment and the tools that you need. We send you to school to learn how to be a firefighter, and we pay you to go to school.
How long does it take? I mean, the schooling. How long does the schooling take?
So it's about 18 months. If you don't know, if you have zero experience, it'll take you about 1.5 years for us to teach you everything that we know to go in and help out other community members. Okay. And we hire twice a year, usually in the spring and the end of summer. And you can check out any of that information on our city's website.
Okay. Well, man, as I said, this has been some great information. I have never learned so much about fire and fire safety. I learned some great information tonight. So thank you guys so much, Brandon. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Chief Todd, I really appreciate your time. And we'll keep in touch. Maybe we'll bring you guys back on here, right? With more, fire safety tips. Maybe during the summer, right? It's a winter months. Summertime too can be dangerous. So thank you so much, guys. And we'll talk to you guys later. You guys
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Chief, thank you so much. I really